This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Wymark, Canada. But before that, this video is brought to you by Gold Gaming and Sax Daddy 08. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Wymark, Canada map can be found with the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Wymark, Canada. This map is based on a small town of Wymark in Canada. In addition to the cultivation and production of grain, this farm is also involved in large-scale production of grain seed. If you start this map in new farmer difficulty, you'll be given the opportunity to manage this farm with all the equipment you need for the job. On this map, you will find the following: 3 pre-placed farms, the main one that belongs to you at the start, and 2 that in order to use, you must buy the land first. The main farm comes with starting vehicles and equipment, 3 fields, and seed production facility. This map also includes 44 farmlands, 33 fields from small to big, 2 of which are grass missions, 1 small forestry site, traffic, pedestrians, Saskatchewan, Canada license plates, custom crop counter, and a train that will take your goods to Swift Current. This map also includes BGA. In addition, productions are available, including a sawmill, dairy, and a grain mill. More on the grain mill later. I'm really not going to even bother talking about the grain mill because of what I'm going to talk about here later on in the video. A bakery with a new product in pasta, multi-product seed production plant, wheat seed, which you'll be able to use on your own needs, and 4 new ones: lentil seed, pea seed, and durum seed, as well as barley seed, which will be able to sell at local purchase station. For seed production, you'll need the appropriate grains, herbicide, and liquid fertilizer. Tanks for buying fertilizers, herbicide, lime are already pre-placed on the main farm. Added a liquid trailer for transport of liquid fertilizer and herbicide, so you can find it in the miscellaneous category. This map includes selling stations for the grain sell point, farmers market, bale sell point, and train sell point. And in addition, there are 3 new crops in durum wheat, peas, and lentils. Let's go ahead and load on into the map. Now we will be taking a look at this map with the mods we typically use, which are additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, precision farming, and straw harvest. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, the main starting farm is void of all buildings, but you do have starting machinery in that alternate game mode.
Welcome, stranger. You've just broken the access code to this game.
Interesting. So that was a little bit of voiceover saying, "Welcome, stranger. You've just entered the access code for this game." Kind of a little odd thing going on there. Okay. Now, with respect to low-end systems, maybe with either integrated graphics or a low-powered GPU, I was suffering in frame rates when I first loaded this map up, looking in this general direction. I feel the reason for this is there is an overabundance, in my opinion, on this farm of deco objects, specifically deco grain bins. All of these grain bins serve no purpose other than just to visually appear here. There's no function to those. Those grain bins down along the right side of that tree line, again, they serve no purpose. They're just deco. I feel that if these were not here, quite possibly your frame rates would not drop. Honestly, I didn't test deleting those with a low-end system to see what happened, but I do know that if I walk this direction a little bit, then some of my frames pop right back up to 60 and stay that way on a lower-end system. Other than that, looking anywhere else on the map, I didn't have any issues with respect to maintaining a solid 60 frames per second with that low-end system with integrated graphics. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And if we take a look at our lands overview, you'll see we start by owning Farmland ID 2. Farmland ID 2 is the main starting farm that can be bought for $531,000 in any alternate game mode. In addition to that, we do have Farmland ID 3, 5, and 4. Those are our starting fields. We also have 2 other farms on this map. Farmland ID 24 is a secondary, smaller arable farm that can be bought for $98,298. And then we have Farmland ID 37 that is a cow farm that can be bought for $270,000. In addition to that, we do have a biogas plant that is located here to the north of town. It is not on buyable land. You will need to buy the biogas plant at the BGA in order to make use of it. And I was successful in deleting the biogas plant if you wish to start over and do something else in that location. We do have all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22 on this map. In addition, we have durum wheat, peas, and lentils. Now, I do believe the description said that there were 4 crops available on this map, but we only see 3 listed here. I just went back and quickly cross-referenced the description, and it was 4 new seed types in the seed production, which is going to be here at the starting farm. It was 3 new crops, 4 seeds. That's where I had that little mix-up. Now, if we take a look at our fields, we've got fairly easy to work fields, I believe. They are all square or rectangular, with the exception of fields 12 and 25. Those have some kind of weird loop back upon themselves shape going on here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. We now cross-reference that with the field calculator screen. This is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. And this map is making use of the generic soil map. So let's see how that generic soil map is being applied to these fields. You can see our 3 starting fields, 1, 2, and 3, are basically going to be a combination of all of the available soil types. We've got a fair bit of silty clay here to the west and to the south, as well as to the extreme east. We do have a custom crop calendar available on this map, so we can take a look at that. And that does include, of course, schedules for durum wheat, peas, and lentils. With respect to our prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops available on this map. In addition, we do have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, and our silage, hay, straw, and our grass. As we continue down through all of our base game productions, we once again do indeed have the ability to sell all the base game productions that are available here in FS22. We do not have the ability to buy bulk lime, so you will need to either buy bulk lime either at the silo specifically or pick it up in bags at the shop. We do have a sell point for stones over at the farmer's market. With respect to our new crops in durum wheat, peas, and lentils, we have multiple sell points for those. And then we have our new productions with respect to durum seed, barley seed, pea seed, and lentil seed. Multiple sell points available for those. Durum flour, pasta, also we have sell points for those. If you are playing with the farm production pack, we do have the ability to sell our washed root crops, but what we do not have is the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items. Now, this map really does not focus too much on forestry, so that's not really too out of the ordinary to not really expect it to see this, but it would be nice to have seen that. With respect to our premium expansion productions and crops, we do have the ability to sell those on this map. If you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability of getting rid of the separated manure. And if you are playing with straw harvest, we do have the ability of getting rid of our hay and straw pellets. With respect to our starting fleet, which we do get in all play modes, we own all of our machinery. None of it is leased and is all very well maintained. We do not have any animals at the start. We have contracts available on this map, and we start out owning the seed production point. With respect to seed production, it will accept wheat, durum wheat, barley, peas, and lentils, and it will output seed, which is basically wheat seed, durum seed, barley seed, pea, and lentil seed. You will need to provide, as the description said, herbicide and liquid fertilizer also in order to produce those seeds. Now, this map has a sole single collectible. It's got a little bit of a little treasure hunt, and we're going to see that right here at the start. There's a little sign that gives us a little hint. It basically says a cash hunt for $1 million. We have to go where Canada's favorite sport is played in Wymark. And then at that point in time, we'll either get our collectible or we'll get another hint in order to further our hunt, if you will. Now, we do have two pretty neat custom farmhouses here. But before I get ahead of myself, let's go ahead and take a look at that starting fleet. We own the John Deere 6120M small tractor, as well as the John Deere 9620RX and the 8R410 large tractor. We've got the Mack Anthem 6x4 semi, as well as the John Deere X9 1100 harvester. For the harvester, we have paired up with the HD45X grain header, as well as the 16-row C16F corn header. For those headers, we have the N7040 header trailer. We have our 2017 pickup truck. We have the Wilson Pacesetter semi-trailer. We have the Flegel TMK 273 grain trailer, as well as the Rudolph TDK 301 RP. We've got the Elmer Hallmaster for our auger wagon. We have the Vanderstand NZ Extreme 1425 cultivator, the Amazon Citan 15001C seeder, also the John Deere 1775 NT planter. We got the Dalbo Mega Roll 2430, as well as the 603R John Deere front loader arms. For the front loader arms, we have a pallet fork. We have our header trailer we talked about, a 1150 kilogram front weight for the John Deere. We have a pair of Meridian TL1239 belts in order to basically take our grain and our seed out of our storage and put those onto trailers. And then we have a modified liquid trailer that is built into the map. Speaking of mods and DLCs, let's go ahead and take a look and see if we have any custom vehicles or implements aside from that trailer. And no, we do not. So the trailer is the only custom implement or tool that is available here on the map. Now, with respect to our farmhouse, so we do have two farmhouses that we can enter. We've got our garage where we have our pickup truck, our back door. Then we have a very decorative bathroom. We have our bedroom with our wardrobe trigger and our sleep trigger. Now let's just go ahead and go on around back. And we have kind of a second house here. This is also an enterable house. And we're going to find our sleep trigger here in the back bedroom. And then across from that, we have our wardrobe. Both of these farmhouses, in fact, everything on the starting farm can be sold with the exception of this sign. Got a little garage shed located right here. We have our lime storage silo, as denoted by the lime written on the silos. As I mentioned earlier, all of these silos are decorative. They serve zero purpose. And in fact, if you come in here into build mode, it says decoration silos. Do you want to sell them? Yes or no. They do all go away. In fact, while we're in build mode, let's go ahead and talk about what is decorative on this map. All of these silos are decorative. We've already talked about these here. And all of these along this row are also decorative. So like I said, we can get rid of a whole lot of models that don't have to render if we simply sell 1, 2, and 3 sets of decorative silos. That alone may boost your frame rates if you are suffering with low frame rates on this map. With respect to our ground textures, we've got a very, very limited set of ground textures available here and a very limited set of plants. As far as our custom production, since we do start in Farm Manager or start from scratch without any buildings, do we have the ability to place our custom production down on this map if we do start in those alternate game modes? We do have our seed production indeed available. Everything else is fairly standard. Let's see if we have the ability to put down these custom buildings. We do indeed have some custom buildings that we can also place down. We do have the custom cow area that is available over on Farmland ID 37 also. Got another usable shed here. Here we're going to have our liquid fertilizer storage. Our liquids trailer that is modified. Again, as we talked, this is a giant row of decorative silos. Some of our machinery in that large building. And then this is going to be seed storage. So this is a seed storage silo. So we have our dump point for a seed. And around the side, we're going to have our output. And we have then our auger conveniently placed at our output. So it makes it easier for a player to figure out what's going on. We have some diesel storage. Let's come back over here. This is going to be our seed production. Inside here, we have our dump point for our inputs. We have our interactive icon. And we have our output for our seed production, located here along the side. Here we have solid fertilizer storage. Another machine shed, and this one does have a workshop trigger. Now, I will say, I'm not a huge fan of these ginormous farms. There's a whole lot, in my opinion, of kind of area here that is really, I don't know if it's wasted or just poorly utilized. I mean, this is a massive area that could also be farmland. This is going to be our main grain storage. So we have our dump point here for our belly dump trailer. And then we have our silo output located right there with the Fleagle trailer conveniently already parked underneath. Now, as I said earlier, there is kind of a bit of a treasure hunt on this map. And the first hint was at the farmhouse. Go to the skating rink in town. At the skating rink, there may or may not be another hint to tell you to go to another location. It's going to basically run you all around the map. Ultimately, you're going to land somewhere where hopefully you're going to find hidden a single soul game cartridge. Yes, I do. I know where this game cartridge is hidden. A single soul game cartridge that is going to net you $1 million reward. So that's kind of a fun little way of making use of the collectibles. These are all silos over here that are a part of Farm Silo. And again, we have our last set of Deco silos located over here. And that is kind of the main starting farm. We have one of our farm entrances located here where we have these two signs and a flag. Nothing is written on the sign, but okay. And everything here at the starting farm can indeed be sold. But I mean, take a look at all this land that is being used, right? Like I said, I feel like it could be a bit more condensed, a bit more space utilized, but that's not going to impact the score on this map whatsoever. Now, across the street, we have our second farm. Let me go ahead and buy this farm as well as the farm over at Farmland ID 37. Then we'll do these two farm tours back to back. We have our farmhouse. This is not an enterable farmhouse. We do have the ability to go into the garage, though. We do not have the ability to go into the farmhouse itself. Then around the back of the farmhouse, we do have our sleep trigger. It would have been a nice touch to have enterable farmhouses on all the farms. Always like when maps go that little extra mile. We do have some vehicle storage and implement storage available here at Farmland ID 24. A couple more sheds that we've already seen. We have a liquid tank as well as a solid fertilizer storage tank here on this farm. And then we have our farm silo. So we have our dump point. And then on the opposite side, we have our output pipe. And we will need an auger for this to then load onto a trailer. We've got one more shed and then a lime storage silo as well. Now over here at farmland ID 37. We have our main entry here right across the street from our animal dealer. Once again, we do not have an enterable house, but we do have a usable garage for this farmhouse. And on the back of the house, we do have that sleep trigger. Just behind the house, we have our cow pasture. So we have our milk fill point. We have our food and straw trigger. Then we have our cow drop off for 300 cows in total. I have a small area for 300 cows, but okay. We'll just flow with it. Around front of the building, we have our slurry fill point. We have a small machine shed here. And then we have another one of these storage buildings. Let's go ahead and take a look at our animal food overview. We've got fairly standard animal food requirements across all of these animals. And that is kind of the cow farm. Pretty small, pretty basic. Does include a field with its farmland, this grass field here. And all the items at both of the other two farms are completely sellable. So yes, with respect to farms being customizable, you can completely customize all three farms on this map. With that, we're going to go to our fly around portion of the video, which we're going to start back at the main farm. So we do have kind of a common point where we're going to begin our tour. So we're back here at the farmhouse, at the starting farm. And we do have seed production here at the starting farm. So with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such, we're going to give the map a full point because we have 6 productions, 5, honestly. We're going to talk about the grain mill here shortly. We have 5 productions built in. We have seed, a sawmill, not a grain mill, dairy, bakery, and a biogas plant. We're going to talk about not a grain mill here in a few minutes, so just be a little bit patient on that. So we have our starting farm here. We have the second farm, which is right across the street from the starting farm. Both of these are basically arable farms. This map is basically flat. Making our way into town. First point of interest here on the right is going to be our fuel depot. Nice custom building. Jackie's Cafe. Nice old pumps. And then across the railroad tracks, we have the town of Wymark. And within this town, so to the right, we have that secondary farm that we talked about. Here we have our dairy. So we have to buy the land in order to have access to this dairy. The dairy is part of farmland ID 32, which is the entire town. Okay, so let's go ahead and buy that. And now you're going to see that the triggers are going to pop up for the dairy. So we have our interactive icon, we have our dump point, and we have our pallet spawn point for the dairy. Right up from the dairy, we have our bakery. So we have our interactive icon, we have our pallet point, and our dump point for the bakery. Got a nice little school here, school complex. Here we have a grain sell point. We have our farmer's market. And then we have what I think should be the grain mill. But we don't actually have a grain mill. Okay? So if we do a query here at the console and basically say, show me all the productions. Right? Production number 2 or 3, sorry, production 3 is a grain mill. If I use easy dev controls and I come here and I say, I want to buy all of the productions. And then I come here to productions. I have a grain mill. Wheat, barley, oats, sorghum, and durum wheat is going to make flour or durum flour. If we look at our PDA, we have our seed production. Okay. There's no other production here at the farm. There's no production here at the secondary farm. This is a water fill point. There's no production south of that. Here we have our vehicle shop. This is our sawmill. This is a train transfer silo. We have our animal dealer. We have the cow farm. We have a bale sell point. We have a fuel point. We have the dairy that we purchased when we bought the land. We have the bakery. We have the feed and grain south sell point we just looked at, the farmer's market, and the BGA. There is no hotspot to indicate where the grain mill is. You may say to yourself, well, maybe let's just visit that and see what happens. All right. So if I didn't have fly mode enabled, I would be falling through the map at this point. The hotspot for the grain mill appears to be off the map. Something is broken in the grain mill configuration. And I believe the grain mill is supposed to be over here south of the BGA. Look for a map update, because the grain mill, in my opinion, is completely and utterly broken and should be updated very, very soon, hopefully. And when it is updated, I believe we're going to find the grain mill right here between the farmer's market and the biogas plant. But right now, currently, this is not there. There's nothing. The building's here. There's no triggers here whatsoever. Now, we have the BGA. We can buy the BGA. We can sell the BGA. And if we do that, we just have a large empty plot here that we can put whatever we want in. With respect to buildings where appropriately are using the new texturing technique, while we do have a few buildings that maybe are not, I'm going to go overall the buildings are using the new texturing technique, and therefore we will be giving the map a full point there as well. So here we have our skating rink. I'll leave it to you all to figure out where the hint might be as to where we need to go next. Continuing south down, let's say the main drag here, we've got our cow farm we already looked at. We have the animal dealer. We have our bale sell point located right here. And then we have the dealer buy point located right here. Now, the animal dealer has a few interesting things going on here. If we go back here and take a look at our lands overview, we have the ability to buy farmland ID 31. Well, it's not clickable, but if I use a script, and I did use a command earlier to buy this because I was trying to figure out where in the heck the grain mill was located, I was able to buy farmland ID 31, and, well, you get a sheep and a cow pasture pop up. So, since that is not clickable, it really isn't that applicable to the normal player, so I don't think it's that, really we don't need to point it out too much. But it seems like it's kind of set up as a sheep and cow pasture, just without any food triggers. Not that big of a deal, since again, I had to be able to buy it by basically running a command that bought all the available farmlands. Because again, I was trying to figure out where the heck is that grain mill. Here we have our transfer silo and a storage silo for the train. So we have our fill point and our dump point for trailers. And then, of course, we have our fill and dump point for the train. And we have a rent train trigger here around back. We have our sawmill. So we have our dump point for our logs, our wood cell trigger. We have our fill point for our wood chips and our pallet spawn point in our interactive icon. And then the last point of interest that we're going to take a look here on this map is going to be the vehicle dealer, a John Deere dealer, which may or may not be important with respect to a hint. Within the dealer, we have to go inside to get to the dealer trigger. And let's go ahead and get our Mahindra, so we'll see where things exist. Now, as far as vehicle spawning, well, you're going to see through the glass, our vehicles spawn inside the building here. We have our dealer trigger. And if we hit that, we're going to see that the dealer trigger is basically the entirety of this large area. Now, something that would have been really nice to have seen is that there is a way to set up a custom camera for the shop here. And it would have been nice to have seen this basically be that custom camera, since we do have our vehicles and implements spawning inside of here. Again, the entirety of this area is the dealer trigger. But if we open this door, we're going to find outside here we have some markers. These markers don't seem to correspond with anything. So it would have been nice to have had these markers inside, and thus not have these markers outside, because these markers do not indicate anything. If you position a vehicle here, the dealer trigger does not pick it up. So our last scoring metric with respect to trigger and interactive areas being clearly marked, there is a little bit of avenue here for things to be improved with respect to that. So we are going to give the map just 3/4 of a point there. That's going to wrap this score up with a 4.75 out of 5. Now, of course, the scoring metric does not take into account actual gameplay functionality with respect to, do things actually work? If it did, then we would have to be taking points off, because it appears the grain mill is currently broken. Hopefully the grain mill will be fixed here at some point very, very soon. Here we have a water fill trigger. And it looks like we're going to have to come up here and activate a button. Well, that is odd. And there we have the fill trigger. I think the rotation is on the wrong axis, because clearly this thing is just to rotate this way and not the other way, because that's just weird. But at any rate, that is going to be how you use the water trigger. I'd love to know what you all think down in the comments below with respect to this map. I think it's got a lot of potential. I'm not a huge giant fan of super big industrial farm areas like this. I think we could have done the exact same thing in maybe a little bit of land like here, making a little better use of that land, and therefore we'd had some more agricultural land to work with. But overall, functionally, I'm sure it's going to serve the purpose it is intended to. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to this map, and look for this map to be updated shortly with a fix for the grain mill, because again, it does appear to be broken as it exists in release 1.0. And until next time, happy farming.